Hi Ian, how's you?
I'm grand. What about yourself, Rory?
Not too bad Ian. You doing a bit of running?
Yeah, I just thought it was such a nice evening. I thought I'd come out for a quick run.
Why do you run Ian?
I like running and I'm really quite good at it now, but it gives me a bit of space, gives me some time to myself.
Do you find that running is part of your recovery?
Oh yes, definitely.
That sounds interesting. Can you tell me a little bit more about it?
I'm Ian Cardwell and I'm currently living in a small village in County Armagh called Donaghcloney, where I live with my wife. We've lived there for 5 years. I've been caring for her now for the best part of the 7 years since we moved over here. She suffers with various forms of mental health problems, the main ones being depression and panic attacks. It took me a few years to sort of appreciate how poorly my wife was getting. And we decided that the best form of action was to do something positive. We found out about Aware Defeat Depression, and initially my role was to go along with Louise as support, take her to the first couple and then leave her, to meet other people suffering with mental health problems. As Louise's health was sort of deteriorating, I needed some support for myself, and it was through the Aware group that I found out about a support group for carers called Cause. It was through going to Cause that I began to realise that it wasn't just about me and I shouldn't feel guilty the way Louise was feeling. It was more about making sure Louise was getting through the weekends. And as I was sort of putting all my energy into looking after Louise, I had to be more than just a carer. I had to be Ian the person. So I sort of tapped into my two main interests. Gardening, I have an allotment just outside the village, and we would have a nice garden at home as well. So I'd be looking after things like that. And going away for a couple of hours onto the allotment, just to potter around, nice and peaceful, lots of bird song. I can sort of spend some time on my own and just get away from it all almost. If we're having a huge row in the house, I would walk away from a row and I would just put on my running gear and I would go out for a run. But it was an opportunity for me to vent, to churn things over in my mind, but equally to sort of put everything to bed and put everything behind me so that when I got back to the house, the arguments, the feelings had all gone and I could start afresh. And over time, this has become my passion, the running. I've done lots of things with my running over the last few years, and I'm running marathons and half marathons. And it made Louise realise as well that whilst I was gaining my own identity, she needed to sort of almost pull herself away from being just this person who suffered with depression. And she would then start just baking cakes for people's leaving parties and things like that. And people have begun to sort of comment and make really favourable suggestions to her in terms of, well, you should really go into business or you should be selling these cakes. And that would give her a real lift. It was a real positive thing for her. So she sort of was putting that into a way of moving away from her depression. It was a way of her coming out of that, her baking her creativity. Through the Cause group, we worked very closely with an organisation called ArtsCare. We came up with the idea of turning an old duvet into a cloak. So we fashioned this item, and then what we did was we would pin phrases and quotes and song lyrics and pictures all around maybe depression, caring, and things like that. And the idea behind a cloak was, if you wear it, it's a real comfort. And it was finally launched at the Bluestone Centre in Craigavon. Jill, who was the member from ArtsCare who looked after the project, she also used the cloak at the launch of the ArtsCare annual conference. We've got involved with different forums now for carers and users. With all this input as well from Louise, it's been a real help for her. She set up her own small business where she's making, bespoke cakes for people, jewellery, cards, that sort of thing. So that's going forward. There is hope there, and you just take on the mantle of a carer and you can get through it and you can get to where you are now.